Welcome to Daily English Podcast. Learn English slowly, clearly, and with confidence.
Hello, lovely students, and welcome back to the Daily English Podcast with Alex. Today's episode is going to be a little different and very exciting. Let me ask you something. Do you really know your English level? Are you a beginner, intermediate, or maybe even advanced? Well, today we're going to find out together. In this special episode, we'll do two things. First, you'll listen to 6 short stories, one for each English level, from beginner, A1, all the way to expert, C2. Each story will help you understand your English skills naturally, without tests, teachers, or books. After all the stories, I'll ask you a few questions for each level to check your understanding and help you discover your true level. All right, let's begin with the first level, A1. At this level, English is simple and clear. Sentences are short, words are common, and ideas are easy to follow. If you can follow this story easily, congratulations! You're at least A1. So, get comfortable, relax, and let's explore your English level together. I'm Alex, and you're listening to the Daily English Podcast.
My name is Liam. I am 27 years old. I live with my brother. We have a small cat. Her name is Milo. I like my cat very much. We live in a small apartment. The apartment has 3 rooms, a living room, a kitchen, and a bedroom. It is clean and quiet. There is a supermarket near our home. I go there every evening to buy food. Every morning, I wake up at 7:30. I get up and open the window. I eat breakfast in the kitchen. I drink coffee and eat bread with butter. After breakfast, I take a shower and brush my teeth. Then I go to work. I work in a small cafe. It is close to my home. I walk there. It takes only 8 minutes. In the cafe, I make tea and coffee. I help customers and clean the tables. My boss is nice. My work is easy. At 12:30, I eat lunch. I eat noodles or chicken. Sometimes I drink juice. At 5, I finish work. I go home. I am a little tired, but I feel good. In the evening, I cook dinner with my brother. We eat together and talk about our day. After dinner, I wash the dishes. Sometimes we watch a movie. Sometimes I play with my cat. She likes to jump and run. At 10:30, I go to bed. I am sleepy. My cat sleeps near my pillow. Before I sleep, I think about my day. My life is simple, but I am happy.
Now let's move on to A2, elementary level. Here, sentences are longer and more connected. Sentences are longer, and you will hear more about routines, plans, and daily activities. If you can understand this story without much effort, you are at least A2 level.
My name is Jake, and I live in a small apartment in the city center. It's not big, but it's cozy. From my balcony, I can see shops, cafes, and busy streets. I work in a bookstore near my home. I love books, so it's a good job for me. I start work at 9 and finish at 5:30. I help customers find books, organize shelves, and sometimes read to children on weekends. My coworkers are friendly, and we often eat lunch together. After work, I like to go for a walk or ride my bicycle along the river. It helps me relax after a long day. At home, I cook pasta or rice, listen to music, and talk with my friends online. On weekends, I wake up late, clean my apartment, and visit my parents. We eat dinner together and talk about our week.
Okay, well done. If this story felt easy to follow, your English is A2 or higher. You can understand short, connected sentences about real life, work, and free time. Now get ready for B1, intermediate level. If you can follow the whole story and understand the message, you're around B1 or higher.
My name is Sophia, and I work as a photographer. I take pictures of people, events, and places. I've been doing this job for almost 7 years, and I still enjoy it. I like my job because it's a mix of art and observation. Every photo is different, and capturing the right moment feels like finding a small piece of magic. I start work at 9 o'clock in the morning. Before I begin, I make a cup of coffee and check my schedule for the day. Some days I take photos in my small studio. Other days I travel around the city for outdoor shoots. Each location is different, sometimes bright and colorful, sometimes calm and quiet. It can be challenging, but when I see the final pictures, I feel proud and happy. My coworkers are friendly. We often help each other with ideas for lighting, poses, or new techniques. I think teamwork is important because you can always learn something from others. Even after years of experience, I still learn new things almost every week. After work, I don't go home right away. I often stop by a small cafe near my studio. I sit by the window, listen to music, and watch people passing by. It helps me relax after a busy day. When I get home, I cook dinner. Something simple like rice and vegetables. Then I sit on my sofa and watch a short movie or a documentary about travel or art. In the evenings, I also study online. I'm taking a course about digital editing because I want to start my own photography business in the future. It's not easy, but I know it's worth it. I want to be independent and do creative projects in my own way. On weekends, I usually take things slow. Sometimes I meet friends for brunch, or I visit a new part of the city with my camera. When the weather is nice, I go to the countryside and take pictures of nature. Fresh air, quiet places, and new colors always give me energy and new ideas.
All right. If you understood this story easily and it felt natural to you, congratulations. Your English level is around B1, which means you're doing great. Now, let's move on to B2, upper intermediate level. At this stage, you'll be able to follow longer stories and understand more detailed ideas. The speaker will sound more fluent and confident, and you'll hear natural expressions, comparisons, and reflections about life and work.
My name is Lucas, and I'm a freelance video editor. For several years, I worked in a media company editing short films and commercials for clients. The job was stable, the people were nice, and the paycheck arrived on time. But after a few years, I began to feel restless. Every project looked the same kind of videos, the same deadlines, the same conversations. From the outside, everything seemed fine, but inside, I felt like I was slowly losing my curiosity. I wanted more freedom, more creativity, and more control over my time. So, about 2.5 years ago, I made a big decision. I quit my job and decided to work on my own. I remember that day clearly. My coworkers brought cake and wished me luck, but I was nervous. I didn't have clients, I didn't have a plan, just hope and a few savings. Still, I knew that if I didn't take the risk, I'd regret it later. The first few months were really hard. I spent long hours at my desk searching for clients online. I made a small website, edited free samples, and sent hundreds of emails. Some days no one replied. Other days someone would offer me work, but for very little money. It was frustrating. I worked 10 hours a day, sometimes for almost nothing. There were nights I thought about giving up. But deep down, I knew this was part of the journey. I told myself that every video I edited, every message I sent, every connection I made, it all mattered, so I kept going. I started watching online tutorials, joined video editing forums, and learned about marketing and freelancing. I realized that freelancing isn't only about skill, it's also about how you communicate and how you manage your time. Little by little, things began to change. My videos improved and my confidence grew. Then one day I got my first big client through a recommendation from someone who liked my work. That moment changed everything. Now my life looks very different. I wake up around 8, make coffee, and check my messages. My small apartment is also my workspace. There's a desk by the window, a few plants, and my camera equipment on the shelves. It's simple, but it feels like mine. When I have a busy day, I spend hours editing, fully focused. But I always take short breaks, stretch, drink tea, or go for a short walk outside. Sometimes I work from a cafe, just to hear the sound of people and life around me. That background noise makes me feel less alone. The best part of being a freelancer is freedom. I decide which projects I want to do, when I want to work, and how I want to work. If I feel tired, I can take a day off. If inspiration comes at midnight, I can work then. This kind of flexibility gives me balance, something I never had in the office. But of course, it's not always easy. Some months are full of projects, others are quiet. Money isn't always steady, and working alone can feel isolating. There's no one to ask for help or tell me I'm doing well. But I've learned to stay calm and plan ahead. When I earn more, I save for slower times. I've also learned how to talk to clients clearly, to ask the right questions, listen carefully, and stay professional even when things go wrong. Another important lesson has been about self-belief. When you work alone, you have to create your own motivation. I remind myself that each project, even the small ones, helps me grow. If something doesn't go as planned, I see it as part of the process. In the evenings, I close my laptop and step away from work. Sometimes I cook dinner and listen to calm music. Sometimes I meet friends or watch a film that inspires me. And sometimes I just make short videos for fun, not for clients, just for myself. That creative freedom reminds me why I started this path in the first place. Looking back now, I'm proud of what I've built. It wasn't easy. There were doubts, failures, and long nights. But I've grown more patient, more confident, and more focused. I've learned that independence doesn't mean being alone. It means trusting yourself enough to walk your own path. I don't earn as much as I did before, but I wake up every morning feeling free. And every time I finish a project I truly love, I smile and think, yes, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be.
If you understood this story easily, great work. Your English is now at an upper intermediate or even higher level. That means you're ready for more advanced English, the kind that explores deeper ideas and real reflections about life and work. Let's move on to the C1 advanced level. At this stage, English begins to sound truly natural and expressive. You'll notice more abstract ideas, longer sentences, and subtle emotions expressed through rhythm and word choice. As you listen, pay attention to how thoughts connect and how feelings flow through language.
My name is Clara, and I work as a high school teacher. I've been teaching English for almost 12 years now.
And during that time, I've learned something important. Teaching people is often more about understanding minds than sharing knowledge. Lessons have structure, grammar, and clear goals. But students have moods, fears, and completely different ways of seeing the world. Balancing both is what makes my work both beautiful and demanding. My day usually begins early. I like to arrive before my students do, while the corridors are still silent. That quiet hour before the noise begins gives me time to think. I make coffee, open my notebook, and look over my lesson plans. I try to imagine how each class might go, where students might struggle, where they might shine. It's a small ritual that helps me feel centered before the day unfolds. When the bell rings, the energy changes instantly. The classrooms fill with voices, movement, and laughter. Each group of students is different. Some curious, some tired, some quietly lost in thought. My job isn't just to teach them grammar or vocabulary, it's to connect with them, to help them believe they can do something they thought was too hard. Over the years, I've realized that real learning doesn't happen when students are scared of mistakes. It happens when they feel safe to try. That's why I focus on creating trust before anything else. I listen more than I speak. I ask questions, not to test them, but to show that their ideas matter. Many people think teaching is about control, about keeping order, managing time, and delivering lessons. But good teaching, like good leadership, is about trust. When students trust you, they tell you what they don't understand. They take risks. They grow. Of course, trust takes time. You can't demand it. You have to earn it through patience and honesty. If something goes wrong in class, a failed test, a conflict, a missed deadline, I try not to react with anger. Instead, I invite a conversation. We talk about what happened, why it happened, and what can be done differently. Blame doesn't teach anything. Understanding does. One class I'll never forget was during my 5th year of teaching. We were preparing for an important exam, and my students were exhausted. 2 days before the test, one of them suddenly broke down in tears during practice. She said, "I'm just not good enough." The room went quiet. In that moment, I put down the textbook and closed my laptop. We didn't study that day. We just talked about fear, about pressure, about how failure doesn't define us. The next morning, she came to school smiling and said, "I think I can do it now." And she did. She passed with one of the highest scores in the class. That moment stayed with me. It reminded me that education isn't about perfect answers. It's about helping people find their confidence. Sometimes progress begins not with pushing harder, but with pausing long enough to listen. After school, when the building becomes quiet again, I stay for a while. I tidy up my desk, read students' essays, and write notes for tomorrow. Then I walk home slowly, letting my mind unwind. Teaching is full of noise, questions, emotions, constant movement. So in the evenings, I need silence. At home, I cook simple meals. Cooking helps me slow down. There's something grounding about chopping vegetables and waiting for water to boil. It's one of the few moments when I focus on just one thing. Sometimes I play soft music. Sometimes I read. Lately, I've been reading books about psychology and communication. They help me understand not only my students, but also myself. I've realized that teaching is as much about self-awareness as it is about knowledge. People sometimes ask if I ever get tired of doing the same thing every year, the same classroom, the same routine. But I don't. Because the students change, and so do I. Every year teaches me something new about patience, empathy, and resilience. Resilience, I've learned, is like a muscle. You build it every time you stand up after a bad day. You grow stronger each time you choose kindness over frustration. If there's one thing my career has taught me, it's that success isn't about finishing the syllabus or getting perfect grades.
It's about the small, quiet victories. The student who finally speaks up in class, the one who starts believing they're capable, the one who comes back years later just to say thank you. At the end of the day, what stays with me isn't the papers or the lesson plans. It's the people, the stories, and the shared moments of growth. That's the real reward, knowing that, in some small way, you've helped someone see themselves differently. Because in teaching, as in life, the goal isn't perfection, it's connection. And that, I think, is the most meaningful lesson of all.
Perfect. If that story felt natural and easy to follow, your English is already at a C1 level. Now, it's time to step into C2, the expert stage. At this level, English becomes smooth, elegant, and deeply expressive. You'll hear subtle ideas, refined vocabulary, and a gentle, natural rhythm that feels almost effortless.
My name is Isabella, and if there is one thing life has taught me, it is that understanding ourselves often takes longer than changing our circumstances. For many years, I believed that progress meant movement. I kept moving from one job to another, one city to the next, one plan to the next, as if stillness was something to be afraid of. I told myself that change meant growth, but in truth, I was running without direction. Stillness frightened me because silence can be revealing. When everything becomes quiet, we start to hear what we have been avoiding. Yet with time, I learned that silence is not empty. It is full of gentle truths that appear only when the noise fades away. These days, I begin my mornings slowly. I make tea, open the window, and let the early sunlight spread across the floor. That small moment of calm feels more meaningful than any rush of achievement. I do not check my phone or plan the day right away. I simply sit, breathe, and listen. There is a quiet rhythm in that stillness, a reminder that being alive does not always mean being busy. I work as a business strategist now, but my relationship with work has changed. What once felt like pressure has become a form of practice. My goal is no longer to control every outcome, but to understand the people behind the process. True progress happens not when systems improve, but when people inside them begin to feel seen and valued. Outside of work, I write. Not for anyone else, but for clarity. Writing helps me untangle my thoughts. It shows me where my fears begin and where they start to lose their power. Some days I write about memories, not to relive them, but to understand what they taught me. Other days I write about the future, not to predict it, but to make peace with uncertainty. Recently I have been thinking a lot about time, not as something that passes, but as something we pass through. Some moments stretch endlessly, others disappear in an instant. I have come to believe that time's quality depends less on what we do, and more on how awake we are while we do it. One true moment of presence can feel longer than a whole day spent rushing. For most of my life, I thought growth meant collecting things, titles, experiences, recognition. Now, I see it differently. Growth is not about accumulation, but about release. It is the quiet art of letting go. The more I let go of what no longer serves me, the more space I find for what truly matters. We live in a world that celebrates more goals, more noise, more motion. But wisdom often lives in knowing when to stop, when to rest, and when to say, this is enough. Freedom, to me, is not doing whatever we want. It is realizing that we do not need to. It is the calm that comes when you no longer measure life by how much you achieve, but by how deeply you experience it. The older I grow, the more I understand that peace is not waiting at the end of the journey. It walks beside us every day. It lives in the soft light of morning, in the sound of our own breathing, in the quiet awareness that this moment, right here, is already enough.
All right. If you understood this story easily, congratulations. Your English is truly advanced. You can now follow complex ideas, emotional depth, and subtle expressions with confidence. But remember, fluency is never the end. Even at the highest level, there's always something new to learn, new stories to explore, and new ways to express who you are. All right, time for part 2. We're going step by step through all 6 English levels, from A1 to C2, with quick questions and short challenges. Ready? Let's begin with A1, the foundation level. At A1, you can handle simple interactions, greetings, introductions, and everyday topics. Let's test it. I'll read a short sentence. Choose the correct answer in your mind or say it out loud. Question 1. Hi, name is Anna. A, I. B, my. C, me. The answer is B, my. My name is Anna. Question 2. You from? A, do. B, is. C, are. Answer is C, are. Where are you from? Question 3. Choose the correct response. How are you? A, I'm fine, thank you. B, I am from London. C, I am student. Answer is A, I'm fine, thank you. Perfect. If you understood most of that easily, great. You're at least A1, maybe higher. If it felt too easy, perfect. You're ready to move up to A2. At the A2 level, you can talk about familiar topics, your daily routine, hobbies, and simple plans. Let's see how strong your foundation is. Question 1. What time do you usually breakfast? A, have. B, eat. C, make. Answer A, have breakfast. Have is the natural collocation here. Question 2. I didn't go out yesterday because it raining. A, was. B, were. C, is. Answer A, was raining. Question 3. Choose the correct sentence. A, I can to swim. B, I can swimming. C, I can swim. C, I can swim. Perfect! If you got 2 correct easily, you're at least A2. If it felt smooth, you're ready for B1, where English becomes more flexible and conversational. Let's start B1. Question 1. If it, tomorrow, we'll stay home. A, rains. B, rained. C, will rain. Answer A, rains. First conditional. If plus present, will plus base verb. Question 2. Choose the best sentence. I've seen that movie last week. B, I saw that movie last week. C, I have saw that movie last week. Answer B, I saw that movie last week. Question 3. I'm used to early. A, wake up. B, waking up. C, wakes up. Answer B, waking up. If that round felt comfortable, congratulations. Your English is functional and fluent for daily life. Next, we step into B2, where expression becomes sharper and more natural. Okay, question 1. By the time we arrived, the movie blank already started. A, has. B, had. C. Was. Answer: B. Had started. Question 2. Choose the correct option. If I blank harder, I would have passed the exam. A. Study. B. Studied. C. Had studied. Answer: C. Had studied. Question 3. Select the best sentence. A. Despite of the rain, we went out. B. Although it was raining, we went out. C. Even though of rain, we went out. Answer: B. Although it was raining, we went out. Okay, if most of that felt familiar, congratulations. You're independent and fluent in most real-world situations. Next up, C1 Advanced Communication. Question 1. Choose the sentence that sounds most natural. A. I'm agree with you. B. I agree with you. C. I'm agreeing with you. Answer: B. I agree with you. Question 2. The phrase hit the nail on the head means A. To be completely right. B. To make a mistake. C. To hurt yourself. Answer: A. To be completely right. Question 3. Complete the sentence. If I hadn't moved abroad, I so much about myself. C. Didn't learn. B. Wouldn't have learned. A. Wouldn't learn. Answer: B. Wouldn't have learned. Perfect! Your next challenge is not grammar, it's style. Read, listen, and imitate how native speakers express emotion, humor, and persuasion. If those felt natural, you're among advanced speakers. Now let's step into the final level, C2 Mastery. Question 1. Choose the sentence with the correct emphasis. A. Not only did she finish early, but she also helped others. B. She not only finished early, also helped others. C. Not only she finished early, but also helped others. Answer: A. Not only did she finish early, but she also helped others. Question 2. The phrase a blessing in disguise means A. Something that seems bad but turns out good. B. A good thing that looks bad. C. A gift wrapped beautifully. Answer: A. Something that seems bad but turns out good. Question 3. Which sentence is most formal? A. Could you kindly provide the details? B. Can you tell me the details? C. Give me the details. Answer: A. Could you kindly provide the details? And that brings us to the end of today's journey through the levels of English. You've listened, reflected, and experienced how language grows step by step from simple beginnings to deeper, more meaningful expression. Maybe some parts felt easy while others made you think a little harder. That's completely normal. Language learning isn't a straight path. It's a journey of growth, patience, and discovery. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Daily English Podcast. I'm Alex, and until next time, keep going, keep learning, and remember, fluency is never the end. It's a way of life. Bye for now.